Okay, everybody, we got a little putting lesson breakdown today that I wanted to show you. Don't always show these, but we fix every part of the game here, especially in the Champions Lab. And so on the left is beforehand, on the right are the changes. I'm going to let them run through really quickly. So you can see both strokes. And I'm going to tell you everything that I did to change his putting stroke and how it's actually going to help him in the future. So on the left is the old, right is the new. Okay, so let's break it down here. Okay, always want to start by looking at a player's grip. And so he had essentially a traditional grip, like if he was holding a golf club. And if we're going to not be over our left hand low, if we're going to have a traditional appearance where your strong hand, for a right-handed person, the right hand, left-handed person would be the left hand. If your strong hand is going to be the lower hand, I like to soften the effect of essentially flipping the putter head and a little less active motion as far as that flipping motion with the bottom hand. And how we do that is we take our left index finger and we actually swap it and we put that on top of our right pinky. And so it makes the hands really soft on the putter and it quiets the right hand action as far as the flipping motion. And so the first thing we did over here on the left was change his grip, as you can see. And what that did was made our triangle here much more, much more kind of one piece rather than here, a bend here, a bend here, and then this side, right? And so it makes it kind of very connected and very uniform. It allows us to kind of work together instead of having one arm do one thing and another arm do another thing. So let's then talk about stance width. You can see on the left, incredibly narrow. And on the right, I widened it a bit, and the reason why I did that was for stability. If I kind of run through this a little bit faster, what you're going to find is, okay, especially if I put an isolation on his head here, what you're going to find is there's a lot of actual body movement. I call it chasing the putt with our upper body, chasing it with our eyes, chasing it with our head. When we do that, we're almost like hoping it into the hole. We're not actually making a putting stroke. We're very kind of guidey, very slow, really kind of hoping the putt into the hole rather than making a confident, firm stroke. Like when you watch Tiger warm up before any tournament, you're going to see compact, crisp, and firm. You're not going to see long and lazy, slowing down, body kind of leaning in, kind of like, oh, please go in, I'm hoping it in, right? We want to have full control. And so a little bit wider stance gives them a little more stability. And actually on this picture on the right, as you'll see, based on the toe line, I actually had him stand with his rear end up against the back wall here rather than on the mat, so we could stop moving our body throughout the putt. You don't want to have any body movement throughout the putt. It's not like a full swing where we want to be moving laterally through the putt, okay? We want this triangle to rotate, okay? But we don't want to be moving all over the place through the putt, okay? That's something that's going to cause a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of kind of slowing down through impact. And it's going to make it really hard to have our speed and our line what we want, okay? I also added a very small forward press. And the reason why I do that is most people don't know there's actually loft on a putter. Some putters have 4 degrees, some have 5, 6, 7. If you have an arm lock, it might even have more than that. And so we want to reduce that loft. And so I had him do a little forward press to just get that putter to 0 at setup, or as close as we can to that. And with putting, my theory, and there's a million theories, I keep it very simple, all right? I want to keep our putting stroke slightly in, slightly in, slightly in. That's exaggerated with the arrows, slightly in, and then feeling like we're hitting up through the golf ball rather than down to the golf ball, okay? Not everyone knows this, but a putt, when you hit it, even the best putters in the world, okay, the putt comes out and actually skids backwards. It doesn't immediately start rolling, okay? And so the way he was releasing his right hand, leaning into it, hitting down, adding loft as he was going through, as you can see his wrist here, how he's kind of scooped that right hand rather than maintaining this beautiful triangle like we are on the right with the new stroke, right? He was actually adding loft and adding to that skid. And so we want to reduce that length of the skid as much as we can, okay? We don't want to add to it by hitting down, scooping, and almost cupping our right hand. So get a little wider, slightly more up in our stance, okay? And we're going to make sure we feel like we're hitting slightly up on it. So I had him work on slightly in, slightly up. And as you'll see, as we go through, there's a major difference in the way the shoulders are operating, the way the hands are operating, the angle of the putter shaft, and the way his body is now not chasing the putt with his shoulders, almost like he's turning through like a mini golf swing on the left, as opposed to the right where it's very stable, right? It's a very much a rocking motion back with the shoulders and rocking underneath the shoulders. The body's not chasing it, we're not leaning forward. And the sound alone is so crisp, the difference. That's the one thing I think Kelly immediately noticed was the feel and the sound changed instantly by just changing the concepts and changing the way we set up to the golf ball. So, quick recap. Change the grip. Left index finger now sits on top of the right pinky. Okay. Little wider stance. Okay. Compared to prior to get him a little more stability. For practice, I had him leaning his rear end on the back wall here. So we'd stop moving laterally through the shot with our body, right? And what that did, that actually made it to where his head, okay, on the new putting stroke, I never even had to mention that. And automatically, as you'll see, we'll go through it one more time, look how stable his head is now. Look at the difference, right? I never even told him to keep his head still. We just changed other dynamics and concepts in the putting stroke, and it starts to fix all of these other things. I didn't tell him to stop rotating his shoulders, right? I told him maintain this slight forward press while hitting up on it. Helped him do that, grabbed the putter shaft and went through the motion with him 5 or 6 times so he could feel what I was wanting him to do. And look what happened. Now changes the entire dynamics of the stroke. We're no longer open and turning out of the way. We're no longer leaning ahead of it. We're no longer chasing it with our head. And we're no longer hitting down on it. And so I asked him to verify, because the number one thing that you'll find when you have a putting stroke like this where you get flippy and you chase it and you hit down on it is speed control is a disaster, especially the further away you get, the worse it is. And he told me that's exactly what he struggles with. And so those struggles will hopefully be gone now. And especially from 4 to 6 feet, he's going to have so much more confidence. And rather than trying to hope it into the hole, we're going to confidently make strokes that we believe are going to stay online now, because I have a putting stroke that's going to work. And so anyways, I hope you all have a great weekend. Hopefully maybe this helped you clean up some of your putting issues. And as usual, if this brought you any value, I'd really appreciate you like and maybe subscribe, share it with your buddies. If you're struggling with putting, I hope this helps. Happy holidays, and we'll talk soon. Take care.